your Greek summer wherever you are. See you soon.
Louisiana bracing for Hurricane Delta. You see the trajectory there, the Category 3 storm, and it's a big one, looking to make landfall this evening.
The worst part about it is maybe the flooding.
Delta is on track to hit the same part of the state Hurricane Laura blasted just 6 weeks ago, and it is packing a punch, getting stronger as it moves toward the U.S. Gulf Coast. Top wind speeds reaching nearly 200 kilometers per hour. For more, I'm joined by Matthew Cappucci. He's a meteorologist at the Washington Post. Matthew, good to see you. He's joining me from Lake Charles, Louisiana. How's it looking where you are?
You know, Jennifer, people are really gearing up for what could be a pretty bad storm here. I sat in traffic for about 5 hours yesterday trying to come into Lake Charles because there was a 60-kilometer backup of people trying to just get out. They had that experience with Laura. They know what a hurricane can do, and now everybody's trying to flee. I've heard from people who spent 7 hours trying to go from here to Houston, just trying to get out of Dodge. But I want to take you outside real quick if I can and show you some of the damage that we've seen just from Laura. Take a look at this. This once was an auto body and parts store, and now look, the entire thing destroyed, dismantled, disheveled, the front walls pushed in, and the entire building just having collapsed. And this is going into another hurricane. So we already saw significant damage with Laura about a month and a half ago, and unfortunately, all this debris you see is going to be blowing around tonight.
That is so distressing. And when we look at the trajectory of this storm, Matthew, and the size of it, we were just showing a satellite photo of it, and it is massive. So what are they expecting in terms of wind speed and the flooding, which often can be almost worse?
Yeah, you mentioned that size of the storm. That's good news and bad news. Good news because when a storm expands, the max winds come down a little bit. But that's bad news because now more people are exposed to those winds. Think of a skater. When the skater is spinning, they put their arms out. They slow down a bit, but now they're wider. And that's exactly what's happening with this hurricane. So here I'm forecasting the western side of the eye wall to come through with winds gusting 110 to 120 kilometers per hour. But farther east, they could see gusts over 160, right where that eye makes landfall. At the same time, on the eastern side, we're also talking a significant surge, 2 to 3 meters in some areas, and plenty of rainfall, 10 to 15 centimeters, maybe 20 in a few spots.
My goodness. So, Matthew, you talked about people are trying to just get the heck out of there, but what else have they done to prepare? Are there some people who are just going to hunker down and try and ride it out?
You know, I've seen a lot of people really taking this one seriously, which is good news. A lot of people just trying to get out of Dodge and sort of part the waters with this. I spoke with a woman at my hotel earlier on who said she lost her home in Laura, has been staying in the hotel ever since then. They have 116 rooms there, and they've been booked the entire time. It was tough getting a room there. But one of my biggest concerns is that if people stay, I'm going to tilt the camera for you. Take a look at this. Everybody just has piles of trash and building remnants and debris in their yards. And these are the sorts of things that tonight will be whipping in the wind. And you have to remember, it's not just that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. When you have stuff like this moving that quickly, it becomes projectiles. Over there, you can probably see some tree damage in the distance. All the shrubs you see in parking lots, a lot of the smaller trees, southern pines, those are all knocked down too. And this is going into a storm. And tonight we're talking about a landfall. It's only about 20, maybe 25 kilometers away from where we saw Laura move ashore. So it's adding insult to injury for a beleaguered group of people who are already storm weary.
Well, and can I just throw in the fact that there's COVID, you got a U.S. election coming up. I mean, what has the state and federal governments done, if anything, at this point to kind of help people out?
You know, I don't really, that's a good question. I think a lot of people here are struggling to mitigate all these different challenges at once. I've seen a lot of signs reminding people to mask up if they're going to shelters, but a lot of shelters aren't opening because if you have a lot of people in a shelter, that's an invitation for transmission of something like COVID-19. I've seen the government advise people to go to hotels, which is one thing they can do, but that is a financial challenge for many folks. Another thing that I found rather interesting, when I was driving into Lake Charles, many people were trying to get the heck out to the west, there was no contraflow, meaning the highway was the same as normal. You had the westbound lanes going westbound, the eastbound lanes coming eastbound. In Florida, in the past, I've seen them do contraflow. So both lanes flowing the same direction to get out of Dodge. And we just didn't see that this time. So I'm curious as to the extent to which the government has prepared for this one, but their resources are really taxed to the max.
I'm sure. Matthew, we got to let you go. We appreciate the great reporting. Thanks for the update.